Walaikum salam. Please speak up.
In the name of Allah, the most merciful, King, person, master, Father, Muhammad, who praise I do. And then the most merciful, the master, the I do. John, the serve, Lord, with the aid, guys, my right hand. I have to do the ways for down. I'm going straight out of hearing these teachings. Say, Allah is one God. Allah is independent who we all depend. And that begat is begotten. Nothing like him. And that bad was the name of Jesus, beside of him. And that bad was the honorable Elijah Muhammad, the last days apostle of God. Amen.
Amen.
Allah is the most merciful, became first and the master of Muhammad. All word praise I do. And I dare lead and teaching God, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, the last days of Allah, and the sisters and brothers of the earth. Language of peace. Assalamu alaikum. Yes, Ramadan is on his way.
Yes, it is.
Thanksgiving turkey is gone. We're ready for Ramadan, but this fortune is going to have to take on Hajj. Because I want to know we're around during that time of Abraham. So this came later on with the earth's overseeing release after Muhammad. So a lot of things have been altered, changed, and we've been seeing it for time, especially for 6,000 years. Things that's been altered, time and changed, landmass been renamed, or the conquerors, those who enter to our land and just take over. So there's been a lot of confusion going on. And we'll see what our people, such in array of not understanding what's going on around us because what they've done to us.
Right.
So I think Master Father Muhammad came in person and chose one of us, Elijah Muhammad, who took on the hardest job and the prophet we have. And there's this evidence. It was a hard job. And all the information that he gave this nation back in 1930 until now 2018,
right.
We still see confusion, misleading those supposed to be representing him, not representing him. And you see his leadership and those he put in position, you don't get credit for none of that. Farrakhan, Malcolm X, Wallace, there are others out there. And I see how Malcolm, he lost his way against his father. And then you see Khalid Muhammad lost his way with Farrakhan. So Malcolm went the wrong way, but Khalid, he was still going the right way of the teaching of Elijah Muhammad. Farrakhan wanted to soften down the teachings of Elijah Muhammad. So a lot of great names are there, they don't want to talk about it, who concept or higher divine learning come from.
Right.
And that's what that brother's doing now, because he was all about the teaching. The teachings when you hear it, because a lot of I made it clear, you know my voice when you hear it, you know the teaching. So you know those who deviate from the teaching, those who didn't. So you see how the son go against the father, the father against the son. So this turmoil going on through the centuries because of messengers and prophets, right?
Right.
Abraham, go with Moses. Was with the great flood. That was Moses, right? Noah. That's it. That's another one. Noah with his family. And he's fast from the day you see the same confusion. Family against family. Son against father, mothers against daughters. The same confusion because we're under the teachings of the guidance of Judaism.
Right.
But I like to thank them both for taking the job and leading us the teachings so we can carry it forth and pass down to those who want it.
Right.
So when we leave here, they can continue with the teachings. So when you come to Islam, Muhammad teachings, it's called Temple as a nation. You come to this high school of education, or learn to sell, because that's a problem. We don't know how to sell.
Right.
So when they come to the door, you have a comfortable security that you see is all over the world now. Airport, military base, police department, private industries. You just can't just walk in, you have a suit car to get in, a slash or somebody there to meet you at the gate, So he was before his time,
Yeah.
So that a divine God who came in that person taught me these things. I mean, they were a third grade education in Georgia, and they know they don't give no credit for him. And all that he gave us to entertain the most highest those in this so-called society.
Right.
He opened up the idea about the moon and the distance of the planets. The sun is now 3 million miles away from the earth. He put so much out there. The moon's like 250,000 miles away from the earth. The moon comes from the earth. And they can bear witness to that.
Yes, sir.
When they went to the moon, they saw that 7% of the moon was the crust of the planet Earth. And the crust of the planet Earth is 25 miles deep. You go to the ocean, it's 12 miles deep in the ocean. Mount Everest was 29,000, 48,000 feet high. That's the highest mountain on planet Earth. And, there's so much he gave us that we must know this planet because this is our planet.
Yes, it is.
And that's why he gave us these lessons.
Mm-hmm.
The best part of the planet. Why do we have the best part? Where is the best part of the planet? This is already. What's the point of that? This gives us this. So this is an education school. Mm-hmm. This is the real education, not what must we have some on this earth soon on the day to it, because they're going to continue to keep deceiving us and lying to us.
Yes,
and I don't want no unity among us. And we got our own people that want the unity. True. But I thank him for giving us that post, stand there to protect those here in heaven.
Yes, sir.
Heaven is here on earth, not up in the sky.
Right.
So once they go through their physical search, they come on in. They see the seating arrangement set up different. Mm-hmm. Sister one side, brother one side. See the podium here. We see the board. They see the world map. Yes, sir. They see our flag. They see the Asher Fact board.
Right.
Something that they're not used to seeing. You see this picture here on the floor, not hang it up, but use a illustrator to let our people know that that's not the one. This is a lie. It is an image. They're painting in front of them, our ancestors, and mislead them, think that they see this white man, and think God's white too. Mm-hmm. So it make them hate themselves. So now you fast forward to 2018, you see all our sisters walking around with their hair straight, hanging down, just like this portrait. So we've been the word of you were brainwashed.
Yes, we have.
But when you have a brother and sister come to our people with true teachings, they don't want it. You look down like you crazy or something. And same thing with the message went through, or just slang your name, try to make you look bad. Anything they do is trying to destroy your image. Oppose what over here to my faith. It's Christianity teachings. And that's not it. We don't have no band bumping and booming, no tangerine. Sit up out right here getting down doing the boogie. None of it. We just here on this podium and teach the truth. And teach the truth. Mm-hmm. And that's our job.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And it's an everyday job. Once we open our eyes every morning, we pray. Right. And 5 times a day, over 2 or 3 times a night, we get up, we have to go to the bathroom and still praying. That's right. So we have on our armor by praying. Right. And that's what that means. We're not about this spooks. No. When they interpret things from the words, and they said just get the disease and bring them back to life. They're not understanding it ain't a physical thing, it's a mental thing. And they're not getting this, they're looking at it as a ghostly thing. And that's the trick of the devil. And they use the pastors of the church, use that same blueprint of the devil.
Yes, they do.
To keep us in the grave.
Sure.
But their time's coming.
Right.
Before trinkets, wealth, mega church, $250,000 car, put the children in school off the sweat and blood of the poor people. And the poor thing, they go there and don't realize they're taking advantage of it. And this is serious what they are because we are spiritual people. And they know that the devil knows that, so he used that trick to play with their feelings. You know, the music get going, the music soothes the beast, music all makes. It's anybody, always automatic. You forget all your problems. And once you get to that beat, you listen to music, that's what you do. You play with it, because that's what we all have in common is our feelings. And the devil have a science to use against our people knows it is in music. Ancient time we did it one in the administrative secretary, what's that, the brother in Egypt. I forget the brother. Hakeem, I think his name was Hakeem. Yeah. And he was talking about the waves and sounds that heals when they used to communicate with that. Or like Muhammad was saying, telepathy, you talk to someone in their mind. And one about really language. This came later on after we lost ourselves and we was a week of ourselves. So we lost that high divine communication, medicine, technology, clean energy. We lost that. Right. By letting this one rule for 6,000 years. So he did the best he can in his time by using some of that technology to build his civilization. We always did off the sweat back of us. Yes, he did. We're always in that picture somewhere. We there. That he's stealing from us, our ideas, our patent inventions, things we built. Right. He's stealing from that. He's stealing our birthrights. He's putting himself in place of us, like it's him. And deflecting our children in his education, now realize how to break the odds of people. Yes. So with this teachings, teach us how to go into history, because history always will qualify us to go forward. True. And it's been documented, there's been records for those who hold the truth. You got those who go in and change around for their own benefit, main power. Right. And they come back and haunt them. Right. You got dudes coming from North America and all they going to the border of Mexico and trying to get into America. You see about 10,000 people, immigrants is coming this way. And they already have FEMA camps and different things already set up already for us, but now they got to utilize it for them now. Trump said they get to the border, he ain't let nobody go. So I think it might be a real ugly scene. And I don't know, that's kind of feeling gonna be real ugly. And all nations is watching us. How are we gonna handle this? You look over in South Africa, they're trying to gain the independence. They have the independence, but they're trying to totally tell the devil, get out. Yeah. Get out. Because this is theirs. How you got it, you stole it. Right. Same thing here in America. Everywhere you go around the world, you stole it. You stole it. Now, everywhere you go, communal poverty, bloodshed. On our sweats and blood, some tribes that you wiped out, they ain't left nobody. From the children to the grandparents. That took away the islands. Or you see out there in Australia, they mostly trying to wipe them out, but they blend with those who left. They blend their blood with them and turn the lighter ones against the darker ones. And when they're still the same people. Right. But if they give them another mind of the devil, continue to play the tricks on the people. Yes, sir. And put down the darker one. They are the foundation of all life. Like my papa, great papa, he was dark like this boy. Yes, he was dark. flat this board. When I thought I'm going over there to his board.
Yes, sir.
Papa was just like that. I was a little boy.
Okay.
Granddaddy Peter, they called.
Uh-huh.
That those was it from the Jamaican island, or those from the Haiti islands.
Okay.
Family members. And I remember some things that tell me, is our homeland.
Mm-hmm.
I can hear his voice in my boy, come in, this is my boy, and I come into the house from school. Now he's sitting on his lap and has his friends sitting around. This is my boy here. And they get to talking, the Haitian and Jamaican language. I went outside playing with nobody. I was listening to the elders, talk, and train, just watching.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom be looking for me, so where that boy from school, but she already was at old Papa house. So I come through the graveyard and go to Papa house. Yep, and this Christianity, Islam,
Mm-hmm.
which one will win, survive the war of religion?
Right.
So when you look at this board, it's the mind and eyes of God itself. It may even be the earth itself. It may even be like this is Africa and this is America. Mm-hmm. Or you look at beyond that to the universe. You look at it, this is the sun that shines on the earth.
Right.
They don't discriminate against no one. Even the falsehood of the teacher of the devil, he still get the sun too. He still can play his garden, represented 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 red stripes. Mm-hmm. This is the garden. When you plant your garden, you have your different layers of your garden. I want some tomatoes here. I may want some beets there. Mm-hmm. So this is the land mass. Mm-hmm. This is the garden itself, the sun. Mm-hmm. For Islam, this can't be here without this.
Right.
The moon and the star, the justice, where 71.2 tons is equivalent to the star of the weight. The moon itself is the quality that comes from the earth, mm-hmm. from that moon god 6,000 years ago, and put that out there, 250,000 miles away. And the sun itself, 850,000 miles square. That's a big sun. 14,000 degrees on the outside, 36,000 from the inside. You can't go nowhere near it. Oh, praise be to God. Sun, been around for 7, 8, 20 years, and the stars been there since 72, 20 years. Just how old this planet is. This falsehood of the teaching of this devil. No justice. No peace. And then back in 1870 to 1901, when they did have black folks in Congress, and senators, and state submission. So what the white folks got together with their guns and everything, they went up to the doors and ran them out of there. Saying, ain't gonna be no more black folks running things anymore.
Right.
And a lot of people don't realize that white laws want to tell us to stay out of the politics of this teaching. Mm-hmm. Because it's rooted. You ain't gonna change this. Right. I don't care who you put in there. That's with one person who's from the nation itself, and all the black people of the global planet Earth back him. Mm-hmm. The same way I told Elijah Muhammad, I would back you. That he would go in there and give them what we demand. Mm-hmm. Like you see back at what's the wants program, the program itself. And he said, put that in Congress. Mm-hmm. But it didn't have to try, but you get over 10,000 those who in the system, and everybody keeping board up on the plan. Mm-hmm. What we need for our black people. Yeah. So leave us alone. Mm-hmm. Separation is the way. Exactly. Because we can't live among you. We can't work among you. We all have that jealousy. The devil. Mm-hmm. That's why they did what they did back in 1870 and 1901. That's what they hated system position. Mm-hmm. And they hate us anyway because of the black skin. Mm-hmm. This is our ID. They hate that. Mm-hmm. Constantine designed that cross in the dream. How can we keep them in a dead state?
Right.
We come there to conquer them.
Mm-hmm.
And every time they went to all these different islands
Mm-hmm.
here in America, all over,
You brought
they brought that cross with them.
cross
Catholic
you.
teachers came over to the beaches, to the islands,
Cross you.
and that was all across the through that ministry. And when they come here, they did all these heinous things to every nation. They harmed us, they beat us, they put fear in people. So you are the devil, who you are. You're not never gonna change that. I'm not gonna never forget what you've done to other people.
Right.
Because you're trying to wipe out the history. You're not gonna wipe out the history that easy.
No.
You might do one of those who bow down to you and allow you to rewrite the books.
Right.
Well, the true teaching, the divine teaching, and us forget what you did because we know that you're gonna answer to all these things.
True.
Especially doing this type of evil you're doing, just cutting the babies out the mothers, cutting paws of the black man, birds at the stake,
Right.
feeding us to the dog, took our land, raped our children, boys and girls. 100 million of us died in the ocean, crossing over. They ain't count how many they killed in Africa. We ain't counting the number that they did in America. We ain't counting the number that they did in the Pacific Ocean or the Caribbean islands. I mean, global slaughter. You gonna answer for all these things.
Yes, sir.
You can smile all you want to. Then you big mansion house, you build all the bunkers you want to build. When the mother planes come, they gonna bring you all that earth. There's nowhere to hide.
Nowhere.
But this slave and suffering death that you've been giving feeding unto our people. I'm not gonna forget that.
No one can.
I'm not gonna tell my granddaughter you can be a boy. I'm not gonna tell my grandson you can be a hell no. I ain't going with that.
No, sir.
That's lies. And now people falling for this truth because they see them in this standard of life because they running things.
That's it.
Because you're running things don't mean that you're correct what you're doing. You so against us
Yes, sir.
for the Nation of Islam,
Mm-hmm.
and you want to question us
Yes.
and beat us down. Why you question
Question all
us?
that stuff over there.
But you want to beat us up, your own brother, your own sister who look like you, who care about you.
Mm-hmm.
But they give you falsehood love.
Yes.
Don't give a damn about you.
Mm-hmm.
But you was male underneath his feet, or say, reconcile them, or eat with them, or marry them, or have children with them, and keep your brother down.
Right.
You might answer for all that too.
Yes, sir.
So I can understand why I say I fear here with you all, because we are acting just like the new modern day devil is the black man and black woman in America and all over the world. Devil is the attitude. They forget about who they are. They don't want freedom, justice, and equality.
Yeah.
They don't want we must have some earth and sun. They don't want that. And I ask the question, you gotta ask, why they don't want that? I say all the time, well, people don't want to wake up. Sleep, or like God said, I gave you all a choice. Again, life or death. Everything's right there. You look at calculation, numbers, mathematics, it's the teaching.
Right.
You look at that's why you see the square.
Right.
When y'all did open space, you don't know which way to go. So that's how you can pinpoint the direction. By on Earth. Because this is a centerpiece.
Yes.
This is the clock. You got a round clock or a square clock.
Right.
You got 12, 6, 3, 9. You know, you got this circle, 360 degrees in there.
Right.
You got the pyramids in there. You know, the teaching is beautiful.
Yes, it is.
How you read the stars and everything. And pinpoint direction, time, space, motion. You got nada, can be destroyed or be created. You know, we have islands that we can contained together and to make this table, a chair, a human body. You know, this is beautiful teachings.
Yes, it is.
But like I said, this is a place of learning. This is a school itself. And Allah Muhammad did all this for us.
Yes, sir.
That time when he was building the school, they was trying to close it down.
Mm-hmm.
This give them hell.
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't want our people to have their own salvation. They don't want to be independent. So how can we can continue to just be among them when you can see that we don't want anything for ourselves?
Yeah, that's no good.
So we want some land. Real soon. As a matter of fact, I want it now.
Yes, sir.
I can't wait no more. And you see those like like they're afraid to step out.
Mm-hmm.
If you believe in the teaching and you got faith, there should be no problem stepping out. You know, we're all in this together.
Right.
We ain't no big numbers, but we're still in this together.
Yes, sir.
I know a lot of things been done to us. Those Asians come in, the spies and all that, destroy the nation. And
Yes.
you wonder why certain camps. Matter of fact, in Richmond, there's a certain way they have because when I used to talk with JS, he said they've been hurt so many times that they're scared to venture out in a certain way. Because they don't want anybody to come in their house and destroy their house where they all put together. And I understand it, because I'm not, even at my own home, I'm not going to just let anyone just let people come in.
Right.
I'm going to check you. Anybody that can come to the temple in a kind of way, you're going to check you.
True.
So you can understand where they're coming from. That we can't even trust each other. You know, that this world got to go. And it's sad that, we're all not together. You know, I don't know what pushes us to come back together. I don't know what it would take. Like I said, we should have these chairs filled up.
Right.
We should be a line outside. We should have sisters, children.
Right.
Our school going on for us. Like on behalf for us. And the sun ahead destroy all the empire that we have. And it was mainly attacked by that day in 2018. We know how far we be. The devil probably all out to sea already. This time over 1914. So it is so much, you can, your mind just keep like, wow. It's a good thoughts.
Yes, sir.
Then it's some sad thoughts too. But I'm not the main speaker. The main speaker is Brother Captain, our temple captain. And he gonna carry us much deeper into the teachings. We must have some earth and sun. As I came to greet you, assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Again, we want to thank our temple lieutenant, Brother Hakeem, for coming to us and delivering to us the truth the so-called Negro in America has been seeking for, as I like to say, so long and so long.
Yes, sir.
And we want to thank him again for making it plain, as we say, because anyone who does not understand the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad in this day and time can truly be classified as lost.
Yes, sir.
So again, we want to give him his due, and we want to give him his word, show him his worthiness.
Right.
Because as we say, the whole is equal to the sum of its parts.
True.
Certainly, when we try to break down what the most honorable Elijah Muhammad has said, we are definitely becoming a part of the whole.
Yes, sir.
So let us give him another round of applause. In the name of Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to whom all holy praises are fair due, in the name of his last and his greatest messenger, leader, teacher, and divine guide, most honorable Elijah Muhammad, it is in their names that I greet the brothers and sisters here at Muhammad's Temple of Islam, number 24 in the East, and the nation's greetings of peace and paradise. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam, sir.
So how the brothers and sisters feel this afternoon.
Send all praise to God, most honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Yes, we are fine. All praises are due to Allah, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And when we say we are fine, now, it doesn't mean that we are perfect in every detail.
No, sir.
But constantly, as we study his teaching, we are becoming refined
Right.
and defined and redefined. So it behooves us to continue on that path because as the devil has been described as an idler bat,
Right.
he is dogging out every step. He may come to us and he may give an example of how little he thinks of us, but his thinking is not complete unless he includes us in his mischief making. But once we come into the knowledge of ourselves, we no longer have to worry about his mischief making because he will run out of tricks.
Yes, sir.
We will have decided that we no longer want to be classified as his tricks or even a part of his tricks. And that includes the male, the female, the children, house pets, and everything else. So in this day and time, as we like to say, we continue on with that which Messenger Muhammad teaches us.
Yes, sir.
Now, if we, for example, say we continue on with that which he has taught us, that's a part of the whole too.
Right.
Because we look back, we have the literature to let us know that he started a long time ago when none of us were even thought of or
Right.
conceived.
Yes, sir.
He was teaching the truth then. He was looking forward to the day we were born and hoping that this truth will lay hold to us as well.
True.
Surely, when most babies are born, they start crying. Why? Because it's not easy coming out into an atmosphere which is not.
Foreign. It's foreign.
It's not. Well, let's say it's not conducive because a child, an unborn child, has been in a capsule for so long. He's become comfortable. It's just like a person lying in bed. If you let that person lie in bed too long, he's going to become adapted to a certain position. He's not going to want to get up. You tell him, you awaken him. The first thing you might want to do if you awaken him too suddenly, you might want to get up swinging. But anyway, if we look on the board, we see a topic of extreme importance,
Yes, sir.
and that is we must have some earth and soon. So we've been talking about this for quite some time. Even, this is a subtopic, so to speak, but it all comes under the supreme heading of a land of our own and qualifications.
Right.
So people are still, as they say, jockeying for position. Everybody's talking about getting a home, getting a house, building a house this place, building a house that place. But we who follow the most honorable Elijah Muhammad talk about it in a much broader sense. We're talking about a land for our people.
Yes, sir.
Nobody else, our people. And simply because we say our people, that doesn't make us selfish.
True.
And even if anybody wants to label us as selfish, we instantly tell them, yeah, we want to be selfish. Because selfish means we think for self and we do for self. And if you want to put the ish on there, that's fine too. So it's all right because we continue on with that which he has taught us.
Right.
So looking at the title, we ask ourselves, why must we have some earth? And especially soon. Well, I remember in the church, when I was in the church, they used to sing a song called Soon and Very Soon, We Are Going to Meet the King. But as I became older, I questioned who the king was. You see, so when I went to church in the country, they would talk about the king that had all different names for God, the holy and the righteous one, and the unconquerable one, all sorts of titles for him. But when it all boiled down to it, he still, after all those accolades, he still came out of what? A spirit. You can't see him, you can't touch him, you can't feel him, but he is omnipresent, he's omnipotent, just omni. But nobody has ever seen him come up and say, but nobody has ever seen him and come back to tell the tale. But at every funeral, they said, "You're gonna meet Mr. and Mrs. So and so and so over there." Okay. So I said, "Wait a minute." The math teacher said, or science teacher said, horizontal. Over there is horizontal.
Yeah.
You see. Then the next Sunday they said, "We're gonna meet sister and brother so and so up there."
Up there.
You see. Now, what mode of transportation are we gonna take
Yeah.
to get up there to see sister and brother so and so and so and so? So as I got older, I started questioning all that so-called reasoning in the church.
Yes, sir.
And yeah, the preachers would say, "You ain't supposed to question God.
Uh-oh.
He knows and sees everything."
Uh-oh.
So okay, well, we're not, as we said in the temple, I'm not questioning God. I'm questioning you. You're supposed to be His representative. You got His telephone number. You said you called Him up this morning. You said you talked to Him. So what did He tell you? You know. So in any case, if we look at that subtitle, the first thing you see up there is we.
Yes, sir.
And we is what they call a collective pronoun.
Right.
You and somebody else. Some people say us, but that's a directive. So who is this we we're talking about? We're speaking about us, so-called American Negro, or let's say black folks. All the terms that they have, they meaning white folks, have, let's say, put on us,
Yes,
so
sir.
to speak, including the ones that we have accepted as being truth.
Right.
And one of those terms is Negroes. When I was in school, they were talking about Negroes. We call each other that. Negro National Anthem. Let's all rise and sing the Negro National Anthem. I had no idea then just what a Negro was. But as the scriptures say, ask and it shall be given,
Right.
seek and ye shall find. So indirectly, in the back of my mind, once I wanted to know,
Right.
then God Himself
Reveal.
opened up the way for me to find out just who He was, and little by little I would find out who I am too, or who I was. That's called advancement.
Yes, sir.
So when we look at the terms such as the NAACP, National Association for the Advancement of, and then here we have another term, of colored people. So, okay, well, I thought about that too. I said, well, we are people of color. Every shade you can think of. We are people of the rainbow. But how do we become nationally advanced? Who do we depend on to become nationally advanced? How do we get our advancement? We have black schools. Yes, at that time they were segregated. We had black colleges, etc. And if black people wanted to get an advanced degree, they had to go away and get it. Couldn't get it south of the border, as I call it.
Right.
So they had to go places like Columbia University, University of Indiana, those places that were known as liberal schools. And within those schools, they call them liberal arts schools, etc.
Right.
But I say all that to say this. Collectively, when that word we shows up, the messenger breaks it down.
Yes.
We, known as the owners, the makers, owners, cream of the planet Earth, gods of the universe, and fathers of civilization. That's who we are.
Exactly.
And believe it or not, the devil doesn't dispute that.
No.
He knows who we are. We have a problem. We don't know who we are.
Exactly.
And I remember they used to talk about seeking a more and profitable and understanding way. But you have to know where it is you're seeking.
Yes, sir.
Because if you're not careful, you might be barking up, they say, barking up the wrong tree. We don't want to do that because we barked up the wrong tree for 400 years. Yeah. We plant them, yet we still barking up the wrong tree. You see. So we want to do something else other than bark. So we want to speak a language that we have never spoken before. This is what Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad brings to us in this day and time.
Right.
So what makes this a must? Why must we have some earth and silver? Because our time is running out. Old people, but should I say older people will verify that. They'll say, well, we ain't got long now. We ain't got the rest of our lives to do this. Okay, well then we have to be about the business of having some land to call our own.
Yes, sir.
How do we do this? We have the resources.
Thank you for
We have black folks that are dealing with real estate, and some of them dealing with unreal estate. You see, but we have to put our heads, our hearts, and our hands together for the good. Let's say for the whole. The whole is equal to the sum of its parts.
Right.
So having means possess, or should I say possess it. And you know, in the devil civilization, they have those people that are called haves, and they have those people that are called have-nots.
Right.
You see, now why is that? And it's supposed to be called a Christian nation. Everybody's supposed to be among the haves. Why? Because they said we're supposed to be living in the land of what? Of plenty. You see, and the devil constantly has commercials on TV. And these commercials show this sprawling acres of land.
Right.
But see, we have to look into that. Well, who owns this?
Haves.
They have the Bureau of Internal Affairs. They have a bureau for everything. Something they shouldn't have sway over. But some earth, yeah. The message said we must have some earth, because even though the scriptures say the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, we are God's people.
Yes, sir.
And because there are other people on earth other than us, or should I say other than we have to share the land. That's what the Indian called himself doing. He told the first invaders, he said, well, wait a minute. You say you want to do what? We want all of this. Well, wait a minute, Lord. Wait a minute. We were here before you got here. Doesn't make any difference. We want you off of it as soon as possible, by any means necessary. Get going. In fact, get going.
Yes, sir.
So the Indian said, he said, well, we got to have a powwow.
Yeah.
Meet the council. He said, all right, we'll make it fast, and we ain't got all day. So Indians didn't know what to think, because here comes this man they call it Paleface. He comes demanding something that we were here thousands and thousands of years before you all ever conceived. Now you're going to be acting like a bullet. So they met with council. They said, well, wait a minute, we can't. They went back to the devil and said, well, we can't go along with that. He said, okay, well, if you don't go along with it, we're gonna roll over you. We're gonna take it. Not only are we gonna roll over you, we're gonna take you out first of all, because we have the guns and ammunition to do so. See, so later on, the Indian came up with the expression, white man speak with forked tongue. How did he know this? Well, he knew because of the way he was treated. Or should I say, the way he was mistreated. So when we fast forward, the devil has not changed his behavior, his aggressive behavior. He hasn't changed. He has no intention of changing. He alters his behavior, but he doesn't change it. There's a difference between alteration and changing. But I say all that to say this. Everybody who's ever met him was met with an offer. In other words, the devil said, I'm going to make you an offer you can't refuse. And I'm not going to allow you to refuse it by force or any other means that I have up my sleeve or wherever, my pants leg or wherever. Either you can accept it or you can reject it. So most of them rejected it. So what happened after that? Wars. Rumors of wars. Why? Because somebody stepped out of their place onto somebody else's place.
Right.
And this is why we must have a land. We must have a land of our own. And as the messenger puts it, we must have some earth and soon. Because history is best qualified to reward its research. And it rewards also its researchers. Right. So he said we must have some earth and soon. Right. Time not gonna wait for us forever. No. Devil not gonna wait for us either. See, because little by little, as the clock ticks, he's got to get up out of here.
Yes, sir.
So every time we look around, we look at disasters, catastrophes, floods, earthquakes, etc. And the recent one has really shaken up the devil. Because when those fires came, he is still speculating on what happened. Well, we don't know, but we know something happened. Combustion took place somewhere. So he's still trying to figure out how it happened, when it happened, and how much it is going to cost him. Many of the devils who perish in the fire may not ever be found.
Right.
Because, as we said, fire does what? It purifies. Won't be anything left of you to even use any, we call it evidence. You see, that's how Almighty God Allah works.
Yes, sir.
So you go in there, all you will see is ashes and rubble, and maybe some things which you can identify as to what they once were. But people, no. See, if fire is hot enough, it can incinerate bone.
Yeah, it does.
Bone is a hard substance. You see, but fire at its peak can disintegrate bone.
Yeah.
Ashes. You see. So this time element, which says, and soon, is telling the so-called Negro, you gotta wake up and smell the coffee.
Right.
Or smell whatever your nostrils will accept.
Yes, sir.
See, so here it is, 2018, soon to be 2019. And the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is still on time.
Yes, sir.
In his teachings, you find out any incident that's taken place in the past.
Yeah.
So that's why I touched upon the fire that the devils couldn't put out.
Yes, sir.
And that's not the last one.
No.
And each time they have them, they're gonna get more intense. We used to once upon a time hear that little character known as Smokey the Bear said, only you can prevent forest fires.
No.
See, but soon they took him off of there. So we no longer see Smokey the Bear. We see his smoke. You see.
Bear gone.
So using a bear as a representation, well, they use him as a representation because actually what Smokey was saying, look, you're all coming into my domain and dropping your little cigarette butts and won't clean up after yourself and leaving a whole lot of rubble.
Yeah.
Mother Nature doesn't like that. She doesn't play that. See, only you, white man, white woman, white child, white dog, white cat, can prevent forest fires. You see, take your junk with you when you leave. Don't leave any evidence. We don't want you here anymore. Your smell is bad enough. Don't you realize when you hit the edge of the forest, when the animals take a whiff and they say, they smell. They say, you know what it is. Hey, we better get to running. You see, animals are not stupid. White man has a smell that when the animals see it, and they get downwind of it, they gone. See, because they remember the last visit he had. Came with his guns and all his, well, let's just say all of his worldly possessions. Build houses in the forest. Didn't ask the animals permission. You see, I know that seems far-fetched, but see, you look at when you have a respect for the land around you, you respect all of the contents therein, including the animals who were probably there long before you got there. You see, they've set up shop, so why not respect them too? The devil goes into the creeks and the oceans and everything, overfishes, overhunts, overkills. You see, everything is over this and over that. You see, then he turns around and tries to make pretend he's trying to save the species, save the raccoon, save this one, save that one. I mean, how hypocritical can you get? And then he says, well, you know, man has brought the animal kingdom almost to the brink of extinction.
Which man?
Wait a minute, which man? You don't see the so-called Negro out there hunting. I mean, yeah, when I was in the country, some of our people hunted too. But like the Indian only hunted for what he needed. He didn't just it wasn't Project Overkill. You see. But the devil goes in there, he said, oh, hey, look at all the deer out there. Rabbit, man, we got everything. Let's just in one fell swoop, just kill all we can. See? Worse than slaughter on Fifth Avenue. So when he goes in there, he kills for what he needs, but he kills for what he doesn't need either. Just kills in abundance. See? Leave a buffalo out there just riding on the field. See, the Indians say, I'm gonna kill him, I'm gonna use his hide, I'm gonna use his hoofs, anything.
Eat him up.
See, the devil say, well, I'm gonna make it a sport. Theodore Roosevelt, all those ones, whom the so-called Negro adored, all this kind of thing.
Yes, sir.
He was white too. His intentions were the same too. Devil is devil regardless of place and time. You see. So let us not take for granted the word soon.
Right.
You see. We can say, well, what's wrong with you? Well, it means it's fast approaching. Exactly. Can be staring you in your face and you won't even know it.
Right.
But do we have some land to call our own? Well, we're working on it.
Yes, sir.
You see, and anybody who has any decency about himself would take land ownership.
Yeah.
Devil does. In fact, he's trying to run a so-called Negro off of the land that he owns. My grandfather had 75 acres of land, pristine land too. Some hook or crook, he got that like the devil does, run around behind him, trick him, etc., etc. 75 acres. So the devil, make no mistake about it, understands the importance of land because he has to have somewhere to plant his feet. He'll tell you about, oh, well, we're going to meet so and so up there beyond the clouds and all this kind of thing. Yeah, right. Like you're going to walk on air or walk on water.
Yeah.
But he's looking all the time at that solid ground under his feet where he can build something. See? So the shame of it all is for over 400 years, our people, so-called Negroes, have been appealing for confirmation.
Yeah.
Messengers tells them, lays it out there for them, makes it plain, and they still scratching their heads and say, well, wait a minute. How can that be? So they will make a 180-degree turn and go back and ask the devil, have you ever heard of this, or have you ever heard of that? Then the devil will confirm it for him. And then he'll say, oh yeah, I heard about that. Miss so told me about that. It's now confirmed. It's now gospel, etc. So his appeal for confirmation has been given to him by way of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. Why? Because America's world, whether we want to believe it or not, is floating in corruption.
Exactly.
Corruption has appeared on what? The land and the sea on account of that which men's hands have wrought. You got wrought iron, haven't you? Oh yeah. Yes indeed. On account of. So people have to guess. Well, why has corruption been allowed to appear on the face of the earth? I thought God owned all that he does. But he gives every nation of people a chance to prove themselves worthy.
Yes, sir.
As the messenger teaches us, all nations have a what?
Turn.
A turn. And this includes the land that they own. You misuse it, you abuse it, then he's going to punish you.
Exactly.
And society always uses that example of what? Rome.
Right.
People thought then, oh shoot, Rome ain't going to ever fall. Julius Caesar thought it, all the Caesars thought it. But see, I tell them, well, wait a minute now, how did Rome attain its greatness? See, somebody consulted with somebody. Because see, when we talk about Romans, we talk about the devil.
That's all.
Caucasians, white folks. You see, where did they get all their ideas from? See, they visited the real Holy Land.
Yes, sir.
See, the continent of so-called Africa.
Right.
And what they were too eager and anxious to sit down and listen to, they stole the rest of it.
Sure did.
But they couldn't put it all in their pockets. No matter how many ships they had, they couldn't take it all back on the ships. Because some of them tried to get greedy, and they get a few hundred yards or a few thousand yards from the shore, but what happened? The ship sank. You see, that's justice. So, again, many people thought the Holy Roman Empire would last and last. Well, it ran its course, just like all nations, as Lester said. Every nation has a turn. See, the Caesars came, the Caesars went. And their next door neighbor, well, let me put it this way, Italy, where Rome is the capital of Italy. Look what happened then. Mount Vesuvius blew up back then. Right in the background, they never thought, they see smoke coming out here, and rumble in the jungle. So, then all of a sudden, the real rumble came. They've been giving warnings for years. And then all of a sudden, Mount Vesuvius blew up. They didn't, and many of them didn't have time to get out of its way. But God always gives a warning. He gave the people a warning. You heard the shaking. When you feel your knees shaking beneath you, you better do something and soon. So even now, people are still talking about how Mount Vesuvius blew up then. And it's still active. Still today, it is an active volcano. It is still there to remind nations that if it happened then, it can happen now.
Yes, sir.
So this world that we live in is floating in corruption.
Yes, it is.
That's why the scripture referred to it as the great whore, the whoremonger. That the teeming nations of the earth, you all come. I got room for you. I got a place for you. You see. But it wasn't the place that people were actually looking for. Everybody wanted to come over here and, as they said, get a piece of the action. Oh, they got a piece of the action already. And now they're finding out generations later that the situation has gotten worse. Many who came and are still alive, they're longing for what? As they say, the old country. You see, because America, what they thought America was, it just turned out to be a fluke. You see, they wanted a new way of life, but yeah, they got a new way of life already, a new way of death too. You see, so the bottom line is America's destruction is both imminent and inescapable.
Exactly.
And what do they spell? Doom. See? And the truth of the matter is, anybody who integrates with that world must share in what? Its destruction. As they say, the whole is equal to the sum of its parts. So, mathematically speaking, look at the so-called Negro. If you are helping spread all this corruption and what have you, then you're going to share in America's destruction.
Exactly.
But still, we must have some earth, and soon, a land of our own and qualification. And certainly your record is going to be checked.
Yes,
So,
sir.
well, what were you doing back, as people like to say, back in the day?
Back in the day.
Well, I used to run a little drugs, did a little prostitution, so. But what are you doing now? Well, I haven't found anything that I really want to do. Well, I got something for you. I got the messages teaching. How about that? Well, you know what they say about the Muslims. They want to take your very life from you. Well, yeah, well, why not? Well, in Islam, if it takes anything from you, it's going to put it back.
Yes.
Because that's the law of nature. See, the devil comes in, he'll take everything and leave nothing but destruction. So, that's why, again, we must have some earth, and soon, earth that we can call what? Our own. Devil, if he's around there, can come and dictate what we can do with our own what? Terra firma, as they said in Latin, solid ground. So, the truth of the matter is, America's fall cannot be checked. It's into the twilight zone now. And no one can stop it. Because America's fall is what? It's imminent. It's bound to happen. We see it happening all around us. So the brothers don't need to be asking, but hey man, look here, what's going on? What up, man? What up? All this kind of thing. So he said, let the foolish educate us. Now, we talk about each one of us has had the experience of a teacher, of an administrator, and an educator. Each one has his own personality, no matter where he got or where she got her degree from. But there are degrees of teaching and there are degrees of learning. But as the educational system is set up, grade by grade, you are seeking what? A higher level. That's why when you get to a certain point, they call it higher education. But despite it all, the Master teaches us that an education begins with teaching a person who he is.
Right.
Education systems don't do that anymore. They have succumbed to technology. Technology doesn't teach you who you are unless you Google it. You want to find out who am I, and then you might get a big question mark. Well, who are you? Who do you think you are? You see, who do men say that you are? You see, so he said, let the foolish educators and teachers think not that we have a future in white America's promises. Now, who teaches America about America and its ways and its means more than, as he called it, school teaching? Some teach by the book, some don't teach by the book. I was teaching over Virginia Union part-time, and of course known as Black History. I call it Black History 101. First thing I told them when they got in is I said, okay, shut down all the computers, turn off all the cell phones and all this kind of thing. I told them, I'm the man up in here, okay? Put your machines away. I'm gonna tell you the real deal. Close your textbooks for a while, because the author of the textbooks, the only thing they do is they create a book to make a profit. Some of it's true, some of it's not true. So I said, I'm going to tell you what the real deal is. And I didn't say initially that I was going to teach. I said, I'm going to tell you what the real deal is according to the teaching of Muhammad Elijah Muhammad. I told them that later. So everybody looked at each other. What is all of this? So you find out. So I had to throw those messages, teachings in and all this kind of things. So I said, first of all, who are you? Who are you? So, what do you mean, who am I? I said, do you know who you are? Yeah, I know who I am. I said, who are you? First thing out of their mouth, oh, I'm Samson Green. I said, okay, are you really Samson Green? Or did you take your slave master known as Samson Green's name and pass it down through generations? And I've never seen so many people frowning all my life. Where is he going with this? I said, I'm here to tell you that you don't really know who you are. So I said, why are you in here? Are you really in here to learn some Black history? Or are you in here to hear what the teacher has to say, get the assignment, pass the test, and then move on to the next level? Do you really want to know who you are and who your duties are and your responsibilities are? They look at each other, then they look at me. I said, all who do, raise your hand. So, of course, I got a resounding 100%. It's okay. So, I say I would like to say this. If we who follow the most honorable Elijah Muhammad are students, we can be student teachers too. Because anytime a child can understand that he's ripe for the pickings, you can teach him Islam, which taught by the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. See, children nowadays come into this world with sense. Babies used to be born with their eyes closed. They come here now with their eyes open, eyes going from left to right. You look at them like that, and they look at you and say, who are you? I just got here, who are you? And no matter where you move, their eyes move with you. Smart as a whip. So the scriptures say each generation becomes weaker and wiser. But later on, they become weaker in the ways of what? Righteousness, which they'll enter into the world which is full of unrighteousness. Weaker in the ways of righteousness, and wiser in the ways of what? Foolishness. See? When that baby learns how to walk, say, come on, I'm going to take you down to the mall. Take you down to the mall with you, show you off. See? This is my son, this is my daughter, and everything. Oh, isn't he cute? Like the old folks just said, look, monkeys are cute. What y'all call my child cute? Cute. See? But again, we have to come to the realization that America's fall, and certainly we preach the fall of America, cannot be checked. We can't stop it. We can't stop it. Just like the devil says, this store is going to be closed Friday. You don't see anybody say, well, I'm going to take the owner to court. Why? Because we want to shop, and he closed the store on Friday. Well, it's his property. He can do what he wants to do. This is why we must have a what? a land of our own qualifications, and we must have some earth and soon. We can reject and we can accept anybody we want to on our turf. We have a right to come out and say, well, yes, sir, may I help you? So what is the nature of your business? Well, I just came to see what y'all are doing. We don't have to see you all and everything. We don't know what's going on. Well, do you have a land of your own? Yeah, but I just want to know what was going on over here. Y'all don't make any noise when you hear the rumbling. Well, brother, you know what that spells? It spells peace. We're going to keep it that way. And to come in amongst us, you have to show us that you want to be peaceful too. That's one of the prerequisites to coming into our land, the land that we call our own. You got to qualify first of all. Wherever you're coming from, there has to be a purge. But hopefully, that time arrives, we can come out and we can do what? Trade. See, this is what our people are all about. What you got to offer me? What I have to offer you? Don't come up here and say, well, I can't see past the trees right there. What y'all doing over there? That's not for you to know. I'll do this to come out here and see what you have to offer. We can trade fine. We can't go on back where you come from. When we want you, we will call you. So, he said, let the foolish educators and teachers think not that we have a future in white America's promises. So he called the educators and teachers foolish. Why? Because they're going by white folks' standards. He said, for they themselves do not have a future unless what? They are willing to divide this country between our people and the Indians whom they robbed some 500 years ago. So the Indians got wise. They got wise to it. Some did, some didn't. Those tribes who stood and fought, white men said, oh yeah, let them come on, we got something for them. White man had the gun, the Indian had the spear, or the bow and arrow, etc. So the Indian knew he wasn't any match for white man's powerful weapons. So he succumbed to it all. So they said, well, I tell you what, we appreciate you not fighting us any longer. So for that, we're going to give you some land. We're going to call it your reservation. Put you over there so you won't be a bother to us anymore. Give you a land in which you can what? Call your own. Now, whatever the qualifications were, we know that the devil sometimes invaded the Indians' land. He's known for that. Even when people say, this is my land, he said, well, yeah, it's your land, but I need some of this. If you don't let me have it, well, I'm going to do what I got to do. Move you out the way. See, land grabbers, land robbers, etc., land thieves. See. So, message said, however, we must have some of this earth that we can call our own. So, we also, the Indians, deserve justice in this matter. We also, the Indians. Why? Because the Indians have a parallel past and somewhat of a parallel future. But the only telling difference is the devil couldn't keep the Indian a slave. Indian said, no, I'm not going for that. I'll fight you to the last one. So as the saying goes, while the Indian fought and died, the Negro laughed and what? Multiplied. Now, that in itself shows you that there was some math in there somewhere. The so-called Negro recognized back then the situation he was in. He couldn't manufacture any weapons, you see, but he did utilize some crude devices. Whenever he could, he slit the master's throat and his children and everybody else, and then set fire to his what? To his property. That was a form of rebellion. So everybody wasn't a slave physically or a slave mentally. There were some who resisted until the very day they died. You see, there was some resistance, but it just wasn't enough to turn the tide. You see. But as the scriptures say, a day would come when God would stand judge, and he would give justice to those that so-called Negro serve, and those who serve would be given justice too. Knowing, because it says what? Know of a surety that Abraham's seed would be in a strange land, or what? Among a strange people. But the ending results were what? God would come back and judge those people whom we serve. And we would what? Come out of it with great substance. So this is the substance that we are looking for right here. The earth. That belongs to us anyway. But right now, we want some earth that we can call our own, along with the qualifications. So he said, we can no longer think in the slavery time terms that we used to think. But we don't forget from whence we came. See, that makes us always aware of who the devil is, where he is, and what he's doing. 24/7. Some people call it being nosy. Yeah, we knows it. We want to know what he's doing. Because see, the scripture said he would come what? From behind us, before us, and come beside us. See, all different directions. Because he has a need to know. Because his time is what? Running out. Because we're in a desert, and your water supply is running out. You got to do something. What you can do, because you don't want to drink it all in one day. And then you drive. Where are you going? But when you look around, all you see is desert. But see, we don't want desert. We want some earth that can what? We can grow things on, and we can build things on. So the preachers, he said, need and must be taught the true religion of God and stop enslaving our people into that lying and slavery teaching of the devils. So for everything that they do in the church, we have to counteract that. See, we have to bring about a counterbalance. See, this is why we keep up our Armageddon board, as we call it, or our actual facts board here. Right. Because it's a counterbalance. And this is the counter right here. In opposition to slavery, suffering, and death. That's why we have to have some land to call our own. He said, believe it or not, we have been serving and worshiping the real devils, the real ones over here. Stop preaching that old lie that God loves all human beings. That's one of the worst lies how people can teach. Oh, God don't hate nobody. God loves everybody. We love him and he loves us. Some of the quotes that they use are true, but they are improperly interpreted. See? Beginning with who God is. So if you improperly define who God is, certainly what comes out of his mouth is going to be improperly interpreted too. Here's a prime example right here. They call him one time Jesus, another time they call him God. God is knocking at the door. They said, see, but it all comes under the heading of deception. You have a land of your own qualification, there is no deception there. Because when you plant the right seed, you're going to get most certainly the right crop. So he set a day for the devil's doom, the day they were grafted. They were doomed from the beginning. But God, in his beneficence, said, yeah, I'm going to give you a chance to see if you can handle it all. And for that 32 degrees that he gave them, they have done too bad a job. Now, if they can do that much with the 32 degrees that they were given, just think what we can do with the 360. I mean, unimaginable. Unimaginable. We talk about freedom, justice, and equality. We might find something to supersede that. You see? But in any case, the message said, he set a day for their doom, the day they were grafted and given a mere 6,000 years to rule us. And that rule consisted of what? Lying to us and murdering us day and night and deceiving nearly the entire nation of black, brown, yellow, and red people. They were given that ability to do that because they were what? Liars and murderers from the beginning. You see, they couldn't tell the truth because number one, they weren't made in truth. There was no truth in them. You see. Oh, they could do some deceiving there. Yes, indeed. Pharaoh's magicians. You see. Well, the so-called Negro could be Pharaoh's magician too. Because he gets out there, he's known also as a court jester. He dances and all this kind of thing. He's an entertainer. Now people, are big on entertainment now. That's why the messenger frowns on sport and play. Now I'm not gonna say I don't like sports. It's interesting to watch it. But at the base of it all, I realized that when you get the further you go up, the CEOs are who? The devil. True. And if the CEO happens to be a so-called Negro, they own him too. They're over top of him. You have a CEO over top of the CEO. If you get what I'm saying. So he said, I possess a letter that is supposed to be authentic on how the devils boast that they have murdered or killed 100 million black Africans since they have contacted them with their lying Christianity. Now imagine that 100 million. Now that's just an estimate right there. When the figures come down, we might find that there were 100 million just in the Atlantic Passage alone. You see, that were destroyed. We may never know the number. But the Supreme God knows because he keeps facts and he keeps figures. See, that's why he knows what we were going to do before we do it. He knows our past, our present, and our future. But he's not spooked. He said, do we not love our black brother's blood regardless of where it's spilled? Now listen to that. Do we not love our black brother's blood regardless of where it's spilled? That's what Christianity teaches. That's my master's thesis was on. Blacks in the military from 1775 to 1945. And that was just the tip of the iceberg. I interviewed a lot of these men. And some of them, sad to say, I asked them, if you had it to do all over again, would you? And they told me, hell yeah, I'd go again. I said, are you serious? He said, yeah. My duty was to protect America. That's why I went. I said, really? Do you really believe that? So, in other words, you're saying no matter what America sends you for, you go blind and you wouldn't ask the question. He said, man, we had to do what we had to do. I said, then what would have happened had you refused to go? Well, they would put us in jail. I said, but at least you would have been alive. You see, yeah, well, I had to go serve my country. Your country? Really? You see. So that just told me even then, that was back then. That was in the late 70s, early 80s. See, this is how they felt. They were proud to serve America. And when they got ready to come back home, some of the Nazi Germany soldiers were allowed to ride in what we call the upper class booths of the car. Black soldiers, get your handpots back to the back. Now these were the enemies. He allowed the German prisoners to ride in the better coaches. But see, our people still want to get closer to him. They want to be more like him. Want to take on his characteristics. As I mentioned last time, commercials now are becoming more integrated. Interracial this, interracial that is coming back. You see, the devil always does that once he thinks black people are making too far or too many strides at being free. He always creates a counterbalance. But that counterbalance is not equal to anybody's arithmetic. So he said, in 1898, a devil by the name of Lacroix, representing, and he was French, of course, and of course he was from Belgium, so France occupied Belgium at one time too. Belgium was a part of Germany, etc. In 1898, a devil by the name of Lacroix, representing Belgium's big business, he puts it in quotes, admitted he had murdered, now check this out, admitted he had murdered 160 million so-called Negro men, women, and children. Admitted it. He had also admitted he had tortured some and crucified women and children. So what does that mean? The devil did not then and does not now discriminate who his victims are. It doesn't matter. He come out of the womb of slavery, you see. So that's why we say the devil is the devil regardless of place and time. This man was from Belgium, see, but he was a devil though, see. And he admitted that he had killed some 160 million, not single-handedly, but he was accompanied by his what? His Belgian brothers, see, raided the continent, you see. But he couldn't kill them all. See. They can't kill us all. And even, let's just say, even if they killed us all, what would we do? We would resurface. People in church don't understand it. They say, oh, you can't kill God. We know this. So he said, the Congo in 1880, Belgium estimated a population of 30 million. Okay? Now, back then that time, as it is now, the Congo was in central West Africa. Okay? So he said in 1880, Belgium estimated a population of 30 million. By 1911, he said, the population was reduced 8.5 million. Isn't that something? Now, how did this reduction come about? You see, same old. Slavery, suffering, and death. That's why we say the devil is the devil regardless of what? Place and or time. He was a murderer from the beginning. This is what the message teaches us. He has no love for us because there is no love in him. When you look at his babies, tell them, oh, isn't he cute? Yeah, he's a cute murderer. You wait until he can walk, talk, and make decisions. He's going to show you who he is. So he said in 1894, an English traveler, E.J. Glade, reported, and he quotes, 21 heads of black men, and this is, we talk about the assembly.
Decapitated. Yeah.
Decapitated. In 1894, an English traveler, E.J. Glade, reported 21 heads of black men were brought, mind you, to Stanley Falls and used as decoration around a flower bed in one of the homes of a high-ranking Army officer who, I'm sure, was himself white.
No doubt.
He said missionaries reported that white Christians forced, again, here we go, forced the so-called Negroes into slavery, producing rubber. Isn't that what Liberia was all about? They had rubber plantations there. Was that what it's all about? See? History repeats itself. And it bears witness to what? The devil is the devil regardless of place and time. And this is why the saying is, those who do not remember history, or even those who don't study it, are what? Destined and doomed to what? Repeat it. So this is why when we read history, those of us who have history in mind, we should not be surprised at what the devil did, has done, is doing, and will do. We shouldn't be surprised at that. But our people always, they always so surprised. Now they're talking about, they keep celebrating this massacre that happened at the Jewish synagogue. What about the 9 people, black people who were killed in that church? They don't even celebrate that now. I mean, what is wrong with that picture? Yeah, our people know very little about Judaism. So they wouldn't know a Jew if he kicked him in his behind. But they all over there use candlelight visuals. Oh, that's so bad. They killed all the Jews. There's a saying, remember, please. You always celebrating or in on somebody else's territory, get you some earth that you can call your own, and soon. Wearing your shoes out, marching. So he said, and if the rubber was bad quality, as people say, hold on to your seats, the poor black slaves were made to eat it. Now you imagine yourself eating rubber. And we have a hard time just bringing, just understanding why people still eat pork. But this is rubber. This is rubber. Imagine slaves being forced to eat rubber. You see. I mean, how low can you go? You see. And he said, you are fools enough to preach their deadly, poison religion, Christianity, to the suffering of self and kind. Now, if some of the preachers, just a fraction of them, would take one Sunday after the other and just preach on atrocities committed on our people, it would cause at least a spark. It may not ignite into a flame, but at least it would cause a spark. You've seen these lighters where people have they flick, 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 flick. Why do they not? Why is the fire not produced? You don't have enough fluid in it. Right. Called lighter fluid. But the so-called Negro keeps flicking and flicking and flicking. See? And the messenger is trying to give him the fluid by which he can ignite the flame, which hopefully it will put some flame on his behind so he can get some earth to call his own. But he keeps flicking and flicking and flicking. And when the flame does come, what happens to him? He gets burned. He keeps on getting burned and still wondering, hey, what's going on, man? You heard about so? Yeah, man, we all heard about it. Ludicrous, stupid, true, ignorant, backwards. And people say it's a sin and a shame, both of them. You can't have one without the other. Because when it's a sin, it's a shame. When it's a shame, it's a sin. Shameful in this day and time. How people wander around and talk about what's happening. See? Or you need to get with the happenings. All this kind of stuff. Pitiful. And if they would get a knowledge of themselves, it would be what? Pitiless. But let's pity. So, he asked the question, are you in love with your open enemies? That's a term our people are going to have to come to grips with. Open enemies. Conceal nothing. I'm going to show you who I am. I'm going to show you what I can do. See? Mess with me. Make me angry. Make me that much disgusted and angry with you. I'm going to show you what I can do. I'm in charge from the top on down to the bottom. Never mind your representatives who are up there. I'm still in charge. I'm in charge of them. Because without me, they couldn't have gotten there. So go on in there and cast your vote. Voteless people is a hopeless people. Nigga, I don't care how many times you vote, you still hopeless. Why? Because you still under my control. But I'm going to get what I can out of you. Yeah, and I'm going to get your vote too. And then when I come into office, I'm going to show you how thankless I am for you voting me into office. I told you who I was. And here you out there getting mad with your own people because y'all don't register to vote. I registered you when I brought you over here. I still got books. You see, I still got books with your ancestors' names in it. And I even took the time to write the atrocities down that I committed. So what you going to do about it? You going to do something for yourself? Or you going to still hang around me and let there be more atrocities? Speak now or forever hold your peace. So, Master said, if you're that stupid that you're going to deny history, which is smacking you in the face, and you ask us to realize it, he said, then just stick around and you'll see where you end up. And our people are still sticking around, as we say, lying at the rich man's gate, wanting some of the crumbs on his table. So, in this day and time, the best thing we can do is we can lay hold to that which we know is going to keep us seeking some of this earth soon. And when we say a land of our own and qualification, this is Muslim thought. And if anybody else here thinks the same as we think, we invite them to come on in. Because certainly they can't be independent out here and have some land of their own qualification. Qualifications mean you got to say out of your mouth what's in your heart. Don't just say, I want an acre over here, or acre over there. No. So we all about unity. So we always be about unity. School never closes here. Mm-hmm. Public schools may close, but school here never closes. Doors may be closed, but the truth is still out there. So we're grateful. We're grateful that Almighty God of Allah came to the shores of North America, seeking his own. Sad to say, some of his own rejected him. They received him not. And they still reject him in this day and time. How low can you go? See, how stupid can you get? Well, we're going to stand steady with our post. See, we're going to take charge of our post. Now, watch up about the view. And when we get some land and we can call our own, we're going to take charge of our post in all of this earth. And so let us not forget, first of all, from whence we come. And let's not forget what the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad has promised us. Life, and life more in what? In abundance. So there.